want to welcome everyone to the Money Energy webinar. We've been very interested in hosting this webinar really through the better part of this year. And Hugh and the research team have released the Money Energy white paper earlier this year. So we're quite excited about it. We've had a couple of practice runs with our annual conference that we had in October. So I think we've got a lot of great things to share here. And just to sort of level set here, having worked with a lot of coaches over the last 22 years here at DNA Behavior and being coaches ourselves, we know what it takes to be a great coach. It takes a combination of traits, including great communication skills, confidence, positive attitude, and empathy, as you know, because most of you do coaching, and the ability to see the whole picture of your client. That's why you're good at what you do as a coach. But we always knew that there was maybe one element that might be missing for even the best coaches. And that's one of the things we'll talk about today. In fact, adding this capability may help your business exponentially and equally your clients' well-being. So what I'm talking about is improving the relationship with money and how to build money energy. So with that, I am going to introduce Hugh Massey, and many of you do know him, and if you don't, certainly there's some great information about him. But he's actually been able to this year really concentrate the actual science, and he's going to introduce that methodology to us, and you can fuse it into your own coaching techniques and stand out from any coaching coach or coaching firm. And with that, Hugh, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Welcome, everybody. It's great to spend some time with you today. And I just want to say before I get started, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat box. And also for the best 3 questions, we're going to hand out our Leadership Behavior DNA book. So please put some questions in, and if we don't get to address them at the end of the call, we will follow up with you personally and respond to the question.
And Hugh, I will be monitoring that question box. So if anybody does, we really welcome those questions.
So during my 40-year business career, I can't believe it's 40 years or so that I started my career, or I suppose since I left school. So my career started then with a few years at college. But as a CPA, as a wealth manager, an entrepreneurial business leader, I've seen lots of people make different types of decisions. And at the end of the day, we as humans all reflect our decisions. We are our decisions. We are a product of the decisions we make. And when I've done coaching with people, one of the exercises I've given them is a lifeline exercise. I like to see the types of decisions people have made throughout their life and the life experiences they've had. And generally speaking, I've seen patterns of decisions where people have made similar types of decisions on a consistent basis, whether it's switching jobs, the types of partners in their life they've chosen, whether a personal or in business, or how they've made business decisions as leaders, the key types of decisions they've made in their families. Because we're always making decisions. But every time there's been an obstacle there in the decision-making process, and that is money. And of course, there is another one, and that is often people's relationships as well. And it puts people under great pressure. And that's what I could see during my time as a CPA, then as a wealth manager, and then even more recently as an entrepreneurial business leader, working with lots of different types of entrepreneurs in many capacities. And what I came to realize is this is people's hardwired behaviors at work. And we all have a hardwired behavior in terms of how we deal with money. And I wanted to understand that so I could help people go to the next stage in their life, to get unshackled, to get unlocked. And that's what led me to form the DNA Behavior business 22 years ago. And it is a behavior and money insights business all focused on behavioral sciences. And through that journey, I've seen this issue of money repeat itself in many different ways. And if I just share a story, in the sense of coaching a CEO, and let's take it that this is Jenny, a female CEO of a reasonably large organization, and she is under extreme pressure from her board to deliver results. And she's panicking at nighttime, worried about the budgets for 2023. We've got an economy that's looking somewhat dubious, shaky. She's got a tough board. She's got to interact with her teams. And of course, her own remuneration is on the line. And this is keeping her awake at night. And she even goes to a doctor and can see that her blood pressure's up unusually high. Does the doctor ask about what might be causing that? No, it just prescribes pills, right? That is sometimes what happens. But if we're part of Jenny's life and we're her coach, maybe there's a bigger question to ask. What is really causing her that pressure? And if you get to understand Jenny's life more, she has made a set of personal financial choices that have increased her debt levels. And now we've got interest rates rising. So maybe that's the bigger cause of her stress. It's not just what's going on in the business. That is part of it. That is a pressure leaning on her, but there's also money in her personal life. And this is really what I want to bring to you, is to expand your capabilities as coaches to be able to have money conversations with your clients, to help them with their identity, but also with their relationship to money. And those two things go hand in hand, and then how they integrate money across their lives. So as a behavior and money insights company, we want to help coaches and provide you with the tools and resources and the thinking to not only address a person's talents and are they a fit for a role, or what are their strengths and struggles, but to bring this extra dimension of money to the table. Money is something that is omnipresent in all of our lives. And I'm sure as coaches, you felt it for yourself. And you probably sense it's there for your clients. And this is why they're getting stuck. There's no doubt that, when we coach people, one of the things that we'll probably say to a person, and I think more and more people are coming to realize it, is you are in the way of your own success. What's in the way of your success? It's your mind. I'd also add, it's your heart as well is in the way of success. But going with, certainly with your mind and with your heart, is money. And it's there all the time. It's a very subtle pressure. And I know there are people who will say, well, money isn't an issue, or I'm not going to make this choice because of the money. They've somehow compartmentalized it or shut it out, but it's always there. And so it's something that has to be addressed, and we need to take it head on. And that's what I'm encouraging all of you to do. And one of the things that I'm very passionate about in all of this is dealing with stress. Because as I've reflected on life, and including my own, and at points where I've been under tremendous pressure, what's behind it? Money. And the whole topic of longevity is getting bigger and bigger out there. People wanting to live longer. How do they do that? But money is there, and money, I believe, is a huge factor on causing people stress. And stress is what impacts people's happiness and their health. So we can give people pills and injections in the arm all we like, but unless we get to the functional cause, there will always be problems. And so I believe we do have a role to play as coaches and as advisors and facilitators to help reduce stress in people's lives. And I think at the end of the day, prevention is better than cure, and it will cost a lot less if we can help our clients do that. So to understand what are the stress points for your clients is extremely important. And money is there. Now, in talking about money, and we're talking a lot today about money energy, and I'm going to take you through that a bit more. There is an energy associated with money, and the question is, can it be quantified? And me being me and reasonably logical, I want to bring what tends to be invisible, because the energy of money in a way is invisible, to being visible. And the only way to do that is measurement. And I think this is where DNA behavior is now going to play a very strong game in how we measure the energy of money, to put this on the table up front, to provide the building block of where do you go next with your clients in dealing with high stakes decisions. Now, what is money energy? Money energy is a stored energy. It is your power and capacity to generate wealth that then can be unleashed. So what we're not saying is it's how much you've got. That doesn't necessarily mean that you have high money energy. It will be a contributor. But in a way, we all have an infinite potential in the context of our lives to create or earn money. And what I'm talking about is helping people build up their money energies and then to unleash it across their life for positive good, for themselves and for others. So again, money energy is a stored energy. In addressing money energy, it is behavioral. Okay, money is a currency. It's something that you have in a bank account or have invested. But money is also what you think money is. It's a reflection of your perspectives on life. It's a reflection on who you are. And believe it or not, a lot of your perspectives on money are shaped by the time you're 7 years old. Now, at 7 years old, you may not have had a lot of money dealings as such, but your hardwired behavior is set by the time you're 7 years old, predominantly to 95%. So in dealing with money, the first thing is one has to address what is in their subconscious mind, what is their hardwired behavior. And the next stage then is, if you're going to progress in life and make good decisions that create positive energy, you're going to have to get conscious of what your unconscious or subconscious propensities might be, and to some degree change the course of history for yourself by making decisions with a greater level of self-awareness. Now, I just want to pose a question here and get you all to reflect on this slide and looking at these 9 elements here. What do you think might be the most important or the strongest element that impacts your money energy? Is it how much you save or in fact not save? Is it your career earning power? Is it the ability to take risks? Is it your learned financial behavior and conscious discipline? Is your relationship to money important? What about your heart? Do all of you realize how powerful your heart is and its impact on your life? The heart is not just physical. The heart has an intelligence too. Your financial flexibility, the ability to take advantage of opportunities when they arise. Building relationships. Your health. Now, I'll be here to say that all of those items, and there are others, are important. Fundamentally, if you have no savings, that is going to be a problem for your money energy and the ability to have the power and capacity to create wealth. And lack of savings for many people is a fundamental contributor to their stress levels, which impacts their health and their happiness. But in our work, the answer to this sits in number 5 and number 6. having the right relationship with money is fundamental. And that comes down to who you are. And if you can get in touch with your identity, which I believe a lot of you as coaches do that work already, money clarity comes. And then it's about your heart as well. So what heart do you bring in integrating the money across your life? If you get those things right, everything else will tend to fall into place and create that flow. So one of the interesting things for us at DNA Behavior this year in working on money energy, and to some degree we've been talking about it for the last 22 years, but our work has largely been measuring the primary strand on the DNA behavior double helix, where we've measured behaviors. But with the DNA double helix, there is a second strand that is a mirror of the first strand. So if you think about it, for every behavior that a person has, they have a corresponding energy field. So if we've talked about behaviors in terms of talents and financial behaviors, there are energy strands around your work life and your money. You know, for instance, if a person is outgoing, they will have an energy for people. If a person has a propensity to be very structured, they are likely to have an energy for saving. Or if a person has a behavior for risk, they are likely to have an energy for taking risks. So with every behavior, there is an energy field. And what we have measured in our system is 4,000 behavior and money insights. That's what you would all get access to if you choose to use our systems. Now, that's a lot of insights and we break it down, but that's what's there to tap into in the systems to use any way that you want. And it all comes with the scientific validation that we've done with a 97.1% validity. So what we have is extremely accurate, can be relied upon through the scientific processes that we followed. Now, a lot of you as business coaches would be used to understanding talents. We measure that first. And if you all decide to go and complete the DNA behavior discovery process after the call, you're going to get a report that's going to spell out your talents. And this graphic here is a very high level on the talents that you get. We've split it into 4 quadrants, but actually it's a lot deeper than that. But this is just to help you see what we do. And we provide the insights depending on which one of the 10 unique DNA styles you are and what your behavioral factors and sub-factors are. So it goes quite deep. It has to if we have 4,000 insights. But this gives you an idea of what we're measuring from a talent side. We also provide, on a similar basis, your money behavior influences and how you deal with money, your perspectives on money, what's important to you in making decisions, what causes stress around money, we are measuring. And you will get insights as well on all of that if you use the system. So thinking about it, you're going to get talents plus the money. Now, here's the interesting part in terms of putting science onto the measurement of money energy. And again, as I said before, your money energy is behavioral. And what we have gone and done is adapted or used Einstein's quantum energy measurement formula and applied it to money. Now, the first step in our system is uncovering your natural financial behavior capability, which relates to your ability to save, set goals and create wealth, and take risks. There's a blended score there. That is sort of the baseline of the money energy that you are born with. For some of us, it's high, some of it's low. But that's not where your life ends up in terms of your money energy, because it comes down to your conscious thinking. What choices have you learned to make? And this is where your learned behavior is important. And then we have this discovery exercise called quality life performance, where we measure across 8 key life areas how you have integrated money into all areas of your life. Are you living in alignment? And money is a key part to that. And then taking that, if you have a high quality life performance, you invariably will create more opportunities in your life, whether it is financial flexibility, which really is your ability to capture financial opportunities as they come. And what contingent liabilities do you have sitting in your life? For some of us, it's actually a lot more than we realize. A lot of people these days have debt. That's being a prisoner to debt is a problem for capturing opportunities, particularly in a rising interest rate environment. Or you have other risks sitting there. Then there's your human capital. This is a huge area where you can create many opportunities for yourself. I've always said that a lucky person is one that has 3 or more ways in which they can make money. If you lose your job or something happens to your business, that you have other ways to create financial wealth. Relationships, building a relationship network is important. How much have you paid it forward in your life, and you can draw on a relationship network? How much have you invested in yourself? All of these are elements that are important in creating exponential growth in your life. In other way, in some ways, setting up the framework for you to be able to make a quantum leap in your life and not just get a linear result. Because a lot of what we're talking about here is, and this will unpack more in a minute, how do you make quantum leaps in your life and not just go for linear results? Now, if we look at Sarah Autumn here, and she's just one case study that we have, and she's completed that quality life performance exercise. And here are the results. And what you can see here is that in each of these 8 areas, and there are 10 rating items underneath that we built from extensive research, Sarah would say that her health and recreation is not strong. So any score here really under 5 overall would be low and would be a potential problem. So for her, developmentally, she needs to work on her health and recreation and her relationships. Now, the 80 rating items are all playing at what your happiness is, and your success and health are all wrapped up in there. Now, on the flip side of happiness is stress. So for those lower scores, and you can start to see it in the graphic here, where the light blue is higher, you could potentially see where Sarah might be having stress in her life, or where there's elements of unhappiness. That's what she's got to work on. This is also telling you where she's investing in her life, where she might be earning, saving. So this is also a reflection of the financial decisions that she's been making. What we're talking about here is Sarah's level of equilibrium to some degree in her life, her level of alignment. This is fundamental to her level of money energy. But coming with that, it's fundamental to her overall happiness, success, and health. Because as I'll show you, and as this unpacks through this presentation, they're all integrated. So let's get into how do we go to this quantum world? How do we amplify our money energy? It's all about transforming mindset. Again, a lot of dealing with money, it's about what you believe. It's about what you think money is. But you can improve the money energy in your life with the right mindset. The first thing to remember is creating equilibrium in your life. What is equilibrium in one's life? It's different for all of us. And to some degree, it is our perception of our life as well. It's talking about having life balance here. So while we believe that your money energy can be infinite, even though we are applying Einstein's formula, it's infinite in different ways for different people, because your capacity to earn money is going to always come back to your relationship to it, how you've integrated it across your life, and who you are. So we're not necessarily saying in boosting your money energy, it's about having the most money. It's about having the highest level of equilibrium in your life and money channeled to ensure that you have that equilibrium and alignment in your life. And so going back to the previous slide around Sarah, is to fill up those light blue gaps so that she doesn't have any of those. That's the goal at the end of the day. But I believe if you get that right, you will create more money flow in your life. Now, what's the first step? And this is fundamental to the whole thing. And I believe as coaches, a lot of you do this already, is in some way helping to your client understand who they are. But if you've taken them to the level of understanding their identity, how they're going to show up in the world, how do they want to be seen? This is very important step if you're going to help someone with their relationship to money, because money is their relationship to money is a reflection of their identity, or what they believe their identity is. So the more that we can help someone get truly in touch with their identity and get that right, we give them a better chance of having the right relationship to money, and therefore the money clarity. If people aren't aware of their identity, I think they will live in a tailspin for most of their life, making potentially poor financial decisions. There might be some good ones in there, but they won't really have clarity about what they want to do with their money. And one of the big problems out there for many people is that they compare themselves to others, and that their self-worth is tied up in money. And therefore they make every decision about the money, and they think about money as the scorecard, when really it's your identity. And what's the measurement on your identity? That doesn't necessarily mean money. And so this area is absolutely fundamental to work on if we're going to help people with their relationship to money. Now, I believe the quantum leap sits in understanding your heart, brain, body connection. This is something that we at DNA Behavior have been doing a lot more work on in recent times. I think a lot of the time we talk about the mind or a person's brain and think that the issues are all wrapped up there. But to understand that your heart is very powerful. Now, a lot of us think of our heart in a physical sense, that if we have a strong heart, we have good cardio, we're okay. And that's to some degree how we think about it. But your heart has a lot of intelligence as well. And the electromagnetic forces around the heart are 60 times the power of the brain. So think about that. So in a way, you could think of your heart as having its own brain. And therefore, it's not only having a strong heart in a physical sense, it's also having a good heart. And what does that do in terms of your decision making? And I'm bringing this up because we all need to get in touch with our feelings. And I'm sure some of you have asked your clients, how do you feel? in relation to the decision that you're making. Are you feeling good or are you feeling bad? And the money aspect of it can make you feel good or bad, or have its own comfort levels. Now, a lot of people also, though, may not necessarily be in touch with their feelings, or know how to get in touch with their feelings, or know whether their feelings are right or wrong. And this is where I've come to the place of looking at the heart rate variability. Now, interestingly enough, a couple of years ago, a friend that I play golf with said, you know, Hugh, I think you should wear a Whoop band. It will really help you with your just general physical performance. And I was already on a bit of a health kick, losing weight, doing more exercises and whatnot. And he said, you know, it'll help you manage how much you do each day, etc. And I was looking at all the bits and pieces on the Whoop app. Thought, okay, I'll get into that. Measurement would not be a bad thing for me. But I came to realize as I started studying the Whoop app more and reading the Whoop research, that heart rate variability had a lot more implications for one's life, because what it was bringing to the table was stress levels. And that when we go to sleep at night, how much stress are we taking with us? What are our thoughts? I always used to joke that money never sleeps. And I would make that joke really more from a capitalist principle of, you put money in the bank and it earns an interest rate, or it's invested, you create more. To some degree, that's linear thinking. But as I've learned more about manifestation, what thoughts I take to sleep about money may come true. So the positive thinking is really, really important. And what the Whoop band is doing is measuring not only your physiological strength in terms as reflected through the heart rate, but it's also measuring your stress levels, and that comes up in your sleep. So the goal being having a higher heart rate variability. If you have a higher heart rate variability, that means you're in good shape. If you have a low HRV or heart rate variability, that's problematic in terms of your physical being, but also your mental being in terms of the stress that you carry. So wouldn't it be great if in every big decision that we help our clients with, we knew what their HRV level was beforehand, during the decision-making process, and after? Even for today's call, I looked at my stress levels on my other device that I wear on my wrist to see where they were. How was I feeling about this webinar? And luckily enough, my stress levels was low and at 16%, and my resting heart rate was only at 47. So, and that probably is saying to you, well, Hugh's enjoying this whole subject of money, energy, and all the content that comes with it, and wants to share it. It wasn't causing me any stress is the main point. And my HRV overnight was also very good. But I think this is a culture that we could bring to the table to start seeing objectively what is really going on with our clients. Because some of them will be scared to say it. Some of them won't know how to get in touch with their feelings. But here's a way to, again, use measurement to get there and ask them more questions. And there are lots of ways to do this. It doesn't just have to be with a Whoop band or an Apple Watch, but more and more people are doing it. But I think we can get into that culture. Now, with the DNA profiles, with the system that we have, we've always talked about aligning results and relationships. So Hugh Massey is a very results-orientated person. Extremely logical. That's what I do in making decisions. But I've learned, as time's gone along, I have to address the relationship side, because if you are just logical and hard-nosed about every decision, surely it's going to come at the cost of relationships, which could have a bigger financial cost, whether it's inside my business, my family, or with my spouse, or with business relationships that I value. So there has to always be, for all of us, a balancing of the mind and the heart. Now, I've said that the heart is very powerful. And so those people that have got more of a relationship slant in their DNA style will find it easier to connect with their heart and know what it's feeling. But they too, at some point, have to balance that up with logic to succeed in the world, because not everything is going to be a sensible decision to go forward. So ultimately, to make quantum leaps in your life, you do need to balance your mind and your heart. And I look at the quantum leaps I've made in my life, going from being an accountant wealth manager to behavioral sciences. That's a huge leap. Was that decision made on logic? Not entirely. There was some logic there in terms of I could see that money was an area that needed to be addressed and I was going to go out and do it. But if I just looked at, okay, what's that going to do to my balance sheet? How was I going to make money? No, it wasn't necessarily a sense, could someone very logical might have said, no, that's not a smart decision at the time. Or going from living in Sydney, Australia, having a wonderful life with everything there for me, to coming to the United States with basically a blank sheet of paper in my suitcase. Is that a logical decision? No, at every time the heart was involved somewhere. And I think I was lucky enough with coaching to get across that line. But I know it wasn't always all logical. And again, this is the balancing of the heart and the mind at play. And this is what we've got to encourage our clients to safely do. But doing that within their styles. And money is a big player there. And this really brings me to, how do we talk about money? Because if people are going to make quantum leaps in their life, including all of you as coaches, because you're not exempt from this. This is not just about your clients. This is also about you. We have to be able to safely talk about money. And money is often a taboo subject. It's the elephant in the room. It's that conversation that's really awkward. But how can we do it safely? And, my approach to this has always been, it's not about the thing. It's not about money. Bring it back as the first step to discovering your client's identity and their life purpose. Get clarity of that. And I was alluding to this before as being an extremely important step. Even when I made my quantum leap from living in Australia to coming to America, a friend of mine who was a fellow entrepreneur at the time, and we were in a sort of like an entrepreneurs organization discussion group, what we call a forum. He asked me, what's your purpose, Hugh? And I said, look, I want to help people all over the world become financially self-empowered. I want to help them have happiness, success, and health, and money not be a roadblock. Then he asked me, Hugh, what is your life going to look like? And at this time, I was 33 years old. Put a sheet of paper in front of me, and I had to draw pictures. And I could see at that time, because I was starting to become aware, I wanted to live in America, because I thought this is where I might be more fulfilled, particularly on the behavioral sciences path. I always had that feeling for a long time. What house do you want to live in? I drew a picture of the house. It's amazing when I came to want to get married, and I started looking at homes with my now wife, Jennifer. The house I live in right now is an exact replica of what I drew. The dogs, the backyard, the full works. It's all there. Getting people to visualize the life they want. And not just the life. I mean, we could be talking business coaching here too. So the business, someone asked me that question, what does my business look like in 10 years? To draw a diagram of it helps you visualize it, and you will stay true to that. Thereafter, the conversation about money is about how are you going to finance that painted picture, which reflects your identity and your life purpose. It becomes a much easier conversation to have. And a lot of because if we just ask people, what does money mean to you? And is money an obstacle up front and that type of thing? Emotions will come out everywhere. Judgments will get clouded if there's another business partner in the room, or there's a spouse or a family member. It's all going to get clogged up and you're not going to get there. But in a way, you're having a money conversation when you talk to people about their identity, their purpose, and what's the life that they want for themselves. What's the business they want? What's the set of relationships they want? What's it, one of my life philosophies that I bring to the table is essentialism. What is essential for humanity to have a happy, successful, and healthy life? They're really the questions. So as we unpack this a bit more, and one of the elements that we've been talking a lot about at DNA Behavior and as part of our thought leadership, engagement with people at a higher level, is longevity. Longevity is now a global trend. It's getting discussed a lot. And there's no doubt, as coaches or advisors, we've all got stressed out clients in some way. That's probably part of why they are seeing us. It's to help them get rid of that stress. But what's the stress doing to them? That's a big question. But is the longevity of your life something that you're born with? Is it wrapped up in your DNA? So if your father had cancer, or your mother did, or heart problems, or whatever it is, does that mean that you have to have that too? Or is it about the choices that you make in your life? There's no doubt we all have DNA, but there's this emerging field now of epigenetics. You can choose to activate your DNA or not activate it. So is it a question of that your longevity is 95% about the choices that you make in your life? And one of those choices, of course, is how you deal with money. And as I've said already, your heart is a big player here. So one of those choices is about having a strong heart, but also a good heart. And so you can see in this graphic, we've pegged it to the 4 chambers of the heart, where there are energy fields. And at the end of the day, to live a longer life, you need to get these 4 primary sources of energy integrated, because they all have an impact on each other. If money is stressing you out, it's likely you're going to eat worse food. You're going to put more sugars in there, carbohydrates, whatever that is, or alcohol, whatever is probably not good for you, maybe for short periods or for longer periods. That then affects your body, because it will probably make you more lethargic. Stress certainly does not make you want to hop to the exercise bike or go for a run if it is true stress. And then what's it doing to your mind? And as I said, the big wrapper around all of this is your heart intelligence. And even before we get to the heart, there's other energy fields in your body that have to be decongested. And some of you have probably looked at the chakras and the energy centers in your body. But all of this is wrapped up together. And dealing with money and your relationship to money is fundamental to your overall being, to the strength of your heart. And if you are under stress, your cognition in making decisions will likely be down. There's research that shows that stressed people, their cognition is affected by 13%. Well, that's quite a dip when you're making big decisions. So there's a lot to get right here. And that while we as coaches might be helping a leader with their leadership, or we're helping them make a career choice, we're dealing with a lot more than just that choice, because we are dealing with their whole life. And whether you like it or not, money is wrapped up in it. And how do we get them in touch with all the signals to be making those right decisions? So as we move forward, I want to be here with my team at DNA Behavior to take you on the journey of not just looking at behavior from a talent perspective, but to bring the money perspective to the table as well. That's what our tools and systems do. That's what we're here to encourage you to think about. And I don't mind if you're already using another system. Some of you will be, but you may not have the money element. We can provide that for you and that way of thinking. And we don't just want to be a tool provider. We're here to build a movement. You know, part of my dream always was to help people be more conscious about money. That's why I believe I'm on this earth. It's taken me some time to actually figure that out. But that's what I'm here to do. And I have, over the last 22 years since I've had the DNA Behavior business, been fortunate to meet many wonderful, fantastic people, thought leaders. Some of them, one of them, she said to me a couple of months ago, Hugh, I've been waiting 12 years for this phone call from you, because she wants to help us lead this movement to help people go away from linear thinking to quantum thinking, to properly integrate money into their lives, get in touch with their feelings. So sitting around us, in terms of the DNA Behavior business, we have fantastic thought leaders. We've got a lot of great coaches already. We've got thousands of financial advisors that are tapped into our systems in some way. How do we turn this into a movement and go out there and impact many more people, and ultimately go from the tens of millions to the billions? That's what we need to be doing. Now, in January, the 1st of January, our team has been really hard at work over the course of this year to reinvent our technology. That's just a fact that we are in a very dynamic world. We've got clients that are very dynamic with lots of needs for customization, so we are going to meet that. And for some of you on this call already know our system, it is going to be exactly the same thing in terms of people completing the discovery processes, but the look and feel inside is going to be far more slick, friendly. It's going to be, for example, easier to pull up a comparison report. You're going to see the data in very simple format like this. This is a comparison of Donnie and Monica with some of the insights. Whatever colors you want, it's all available. How you want the screens to look, it's up to you. You can choose from all of the insights and tailor the screens as you wish. You will always get the behavior and the money insights available to you in whatever mix that you want to have. And there are other apps in the system as well. We have a great one called Market Mood, which will tell you how your client is feeling about money in the current financial circumstances, real time. So, you know, here's some of the work talents that come up. We have deeper measurements of the behavioral factors, the market mood tool. You know, the different screen experiences are there, the biases, everything comes up in these types of screens. We have shuffle cards to make this easier to look at, so that you could take a leader through the insights for them personally, and then start to show the same insights for their team in a different format and lead the conversation that way, or for a husband and wife, whatever that setting is. That's what you know, the system has been designed to do. It's much quicker and easier to, you know, pull this data on various mixes and pockets of your clients. So where do we go next? Some of you already know us. So, but I will give you all the next steps. first step I recommend is that you read our money energy white paper, which can be accessed at this link. And we will send you an email after the session today with this information as well, which will really show you how we have designed money energy and its impact across every aspect of your life. So that will give you the deeper thinking. It's not that long to read, but I think you'll find it quite insightful, but it sets a great platform. You can always trial our system at this link here to see the insights for you. I always believe that you cannot take a client where you have not been yourself. So if you haven't confronted money and money energy in your own life, you need to do that for me, for you. Starting in January, we are going to have a regular blog series on money energy related topics. Some of them have been coming out now, but they will be very regular from January, and you can sign up for that, and it will be very informative. And if that's all you want to do, just to experience more what we're talking about and build more trust, that's good. There'll be lots of stories there. So a lot will be unpacked through our digital service. You can learn about our discovery subscriptions and how to use this with your clients, the training. And if you really get involved, you can start to come along to the mastermind conferences that we're having twice a year. And they're not just to learn about behavior. This is to go the whole way in how you get to quantum thinking, how the heart operates, your energy fields, how we apply this in lots of specialized areas, and it'll be uplifting for you, but again, also how you can go further with every one of your clients. So I know, Leon, we have some questions there. So
yeah, we do, Hugh. Some
yep,
great
should we
questions.
unpack a few of those?
Sure. I think we have some time here. I think, the questions have come in, been really great. One question that's been common: will we get the slides? And my answer is yes, you will get the slides along with the recording and also the notes from this presentation. So expect those this afternoon. There's also a quick survey. We really would value your input from the survey that should be dispatched shortly after this webinar. But here's one of the first questions, Hugh, and I think it's very thought-provoking. And it's from Hendrik Crawford from South Africa, one of our very partners that really has helped us in the work that we've been doing. His question is: all money decisions are to satisfy a specific psychological need. All of us will have different biases to help make different decisions. Sometimes it could cause dissonant energy sapping. So question is, how can I as a coach help my clients to have more choice range with their unique personalities?
So the first step to that, in my view, is to understand what your money personality or your financial behavioral style is. I think that's the first step, what your hardwired behavioral style is and what biases come with that, because that sort of sets the scene with your natural behavior awareness. So that would be the first part of the answer. And then depending on what is a strength in your life and what is a struggle in your life, where is your alignment and misalignments, then which can be picked up through that quality life performance exercise that I mentioned earlier in the presentation. That's then when we start to look at, okay, what decisions do we actually need to make? Where do we need to be more conscious of what our pattern is? Because I think that, based on the natural behavior, people tend to make similar decisions on a regular basis, and that can be good ones, and that can be poor decisions, and you get yourself into a cycle. By understanding that, you can break the cycle. But until you understand that, you're probably not going to break the cycle. So hopefully that answers that question. So Leon, you're on mute.
Thanks, Hugh. And so to add on to that, one question that I really liked was, would emotions and moods, is that a disposition for action? How does that positive impact on HRV? When the moods and emotions sort of are either positive or negative, does that have an impact on HRV?
I believe your moods and emotions do have an impact on your HRV, and there's no doubt if you're in a good mood and you are generally happy, then that's going to be positive to your HRV. If you are in a place of negative emotions, negative mood, that will cause a lowering of your HRV. And again, I come back to why measure it, because you may not always be aware of how bad your mood is or how negative some of the emotions that you've got, because you might be shielding it, particularly if you've lived with them for a long time.
Very good, Hugh. Next question, which I thought was great. It's really more of a point from Mike Baduzzi. It was when the Grinch found his heart, he made positive changes in his life. Thought that was quite good.
Well, and this is the thing, is to realize scientifically how powerful the heart is. The heart's talked about in the Bible. It's talked, we use it in commonplace life. Okay, let's show that person a good heart, that type of thing, or let's have a heart for giving some money or whatever it might be, giving person grace. But they're not just sayings. They are actually realisms. And that's something that we need to bring forward into life so much more, to understand that. But also to recognize that some of us might start off from a slightly more logical, rational place, and to balance this up. And I think that's really, really important for achieving that life alignment that can allow you to get into that quantum space. But it's also because, in a way, the quantum world can't be measured, and some of this, not everything in life can be measured, every decision. That's where you do need to trust the heart and go with that in your feelings. And what I'm hoping to do here is, at least through some measurement, is to put more awareness there so that you've got some building blocks to move forward.
Thank you, Hugh. That's sort of our time. I know we want to be respectful of everyone's time. And there were a couple of other questions that I did answer, but I think overall it was a very positive sort of experience, some great feedback that you had here around how this is right up their alley, and it's really helped see the picture of it.
Well, thank you, Leon. Thank you, everybody, for coming along today. We look forward to sending you the recording and some follow-up information, and staying in touch. And yeah, let's put more heart intelligence into how we deal with money and have a better relationship to money. And I think that will help everybody's business and overall life.
Thank you, Hugh. Thank you, all of our participants. We appreciate it. And that survey will go out. And if you would like to be contacted by us, we would definitely like to reach out and answer any other questions that you may have. Thank you so much. Have a great day.